Hello there, and welcome to this Newsfirst special. I am your host for this evening, Jayamal Ratnayaka. As you know, Sri Lanka's tourism is currently booming. Our economy is showing very positive signs of growth, and it just feels like Sri Lanka is finally reaching out and living up to its potential and also carving out our position as a hub for commerce and trade in the region and also in the world. This interview is a signification or an example of Sri Lanka's rejuvenation and the renewed hope we have in terms of making our mark in the global sphere. Today, I have two very important guests with us. Mr. T. Krishnakumar, Director of Reliance Consumer Products, all the way from India, and also Mr. Ravi Jayawardena, Group CEO of Maliban Biscuits Group. Reliance, of course, needs no introduction. It's a global brand run by the ever-dynamic Mr. Mukesh Ambani. And Maliban, of course, is known and loved by every Sri Lankan household. And today, we are talking about a very exciting partnership that these two companies have come together to create. Mr. Krishnakumar, since you are our guest this evening, let me first direct my question to you. Reliance is a global business giant, and when it comes to all of the experience that you have gained working in different markets, working in different geographies, how do you view Sri Lanka's potential in the contemporary age in 2025 as a consumer market, as a hub for trade and commerce, and also an overall hub of activity?
Well, I think I've been seeing Sri Lanka for the last 3 decades in its various phases of growth and development. I've always felt that Sri Lanka had phenomenal potential to play a bigger part, firstly in South Asia and then in the rest of the world. I think it has got a history and legacy of producing excellent products, especially in the consumer space, to the extent that many of these products are comparable to global standards. Secondly, it has developed deep capabilities in terms of innovation and in terms of translating innovation into consumer propositions through products. And Maliban has been one company which has championed this over several decades. And so I see Sri Lanka in the long run being capable of playing a good role, especially in the area of consumer products, which is the sphere I have worked in my life. Firstly in South Asian markets and then on to the rest of the world. And I feel this is something which is a latent capability that Sri Lanka has always possessed. And I feel with some effort by the industry leaders and being also facilitated by the other stakeholders, that could translate into a very, very strong and robust opportunity for Sri Lanka in the world of business.
I see. So, Mr. Jayawardena, on the outset of things, this partnership is not just a synergy between two brands. It's a synergy between two nations, India and Sri Lanka. And we know India and Sri Lanka share very deep historical ties, not just diplomatically, but centuries-old ties. Against such a backdrop, this relationship is a perfect illustration of how deep our ties go. Can you run us through what this latest partnership is and how important it is for Sri Lanka and also our entire economy and, of course, Maliban as well?
Yeah, so to start with, I think this particular partnership with Reliance, Sri Lanka, if you take, we are in the biscuit industry, and it's a this particular category is very fragmented right now, So currently about 100,000 metric tons been consumed, and always, if you take the last 5 years, it's single-digit growth. So as a company with a 70-year-old history, if you take the next 5 to 10 years, if you want to have a growth, and India is like our big brother, and there's a lot of synergies between India and Sri Lanka, and this particular partnership with Reliance has given us a significant boost, mainly because of the fact that Reliance is number one, and under KK's leadership, the Reliance consumer, because India, you have the scale. Now, Sri Lanka, it's a pretty fragmented.
Yes.
Every household is having a biscuit, whatever the brand is.
Yeah.
So they started in 22, and now it has evolved heavily, and they will, time to come, will become even now, I think, the biggest retail sort of chain in the world in India,
Yes.
definitely. And so partnering with Reliance to conquer India is a huge sort of a boost for Maliban as well as for Sri Lanka.
Yes.
And to be very frank, a lot of people ask to get into India and how we started. Actually, this is so something which we always say you have to have a solid partner. And Reliance has given that strength to us. Because Sri Lanka, we are a big fish in a small pond, to be very frank. Right? And so to grow, you have a beautiful brother,
Yes.
lovely, and then why don't you sort of use that and this
take on a new challenge.
It's just a historical relationship, and getting into Reliance, and of course, KK is giving a brilliant leadership, and that's really have seen. It's a very challenging market, also,
Indeed.
to be very frank, and it's probably one of the most complicated markets in
Yes.
the world. So you need that support, and that will be a huge boost for Sri Lanka. There's no question about it, and Sri Lanka need that currently. And if you take the next 3 to 5 years, Sri Lanka will go through a lot of challenges, and the support. And as a company of our nature and getting that, and this will be, we strongly believe this will be the start of a lot of companies will look into that.
I see.
Right, and when we have such a giant neighbor, get the best out. That's our motto. And Sri Maliban also being a 70-year-old company, and this is a step change. In fact, we were having a discussion a little while ago also. What we produce in Sri Lanka, that volume, they will produce in 3 years. So what we have done in 70 years, they will do it in, because of the scale, really.
Yeah, the scale of the market.
Scale of the market.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Indeed.
Right. So, and if you are big in India, you are big in the world.
Understood. Very eloquently put there, Mr. Jayawardena. So, Mr. Krishnakumar, talking about the flip side of the coin, what does this partnership mean to you and Reliance?
Well, see, I want to take a couple of steps back. See, our chairman, Mr. Mukesh Ambani's vision has always been to provide India the best at a very affordable price. That has been his vision for a long time in many areas. I think he's known in a legendary manner for that. So one of the big thoughts he had was to see whether we can create a whole range of consumer products, fast-moving consumer products,
Yes.
as we call it, which are of global quality, but which are affordable to every Indian.
With good value.
Yeah. So all of you know India has a massive population. I mean, you can plus minus take it, it's 1.4 billion. But the affordable nature of any product is on a sliding scale in India. So we started on that venture, and we said that we will really start sourcing these sort of products. As part of that, we have developed our own capabilities to really make good products. We have our own R&D facility. But then we were also scouting around in South Asia for really people who can give us the know-how, the knowledge, and the ability to make this happen in real terms. And we found in Maliban an organization which had the legacy, which had the heritage, but which also had the leadership of this category, besides also having great innovative capabilities. And I always feel that Maliban's products are best in class in the world. So we said, like, this would be a great partnership because we understand the consumers in India. We've got the insights of what they want. And then we also have a good understanding of how to go to the market in India, which is very complex for any outside company.
Yeah.
We have our own retail business. So we said, considering our strengths, each other's strengths, the Reliance strengths as well as the Maliban strengths, we felt there was a huge complementary capabilities that we carried. And so after quite a bit of discussion with Maliban, we said this could be a great opportunity for both of us, not only as a partnership, but creating a very strategic sort of thought process within South Asia, where we put together our capabilities and then try to create a powerhouse of a company in this category, which after our initial foray in South Asia, can even go global. And that was the basis on which we started working together. We believe it's a seriously good initiative because they know how to make world-class biscuits. We know what the consumer in India wants, and we know how to get to the consumer in India. So I think between us, we should be able to give Indians excellent products at affordable prices.
Understood. Mr. Jayawardena, Maliban's collaboration with Reliance marks a very bold step in your regional growth strategy. And as a wholly Sri Lankan owned brand, from very humble beginnings 70 years ago to where you are now, from this experience through forging this partnership, what can you share with Sri Lankan brands that are looking to expand and scale up their businesses, move from the local market to the global market, maybe India, maybe other geographies? What are the lessons you learned, and what are the advices you can share with potential businesses who are looking to scale their brand up?
I think the one of the fundamental is that, as KK said, the product, you have to have the base right. That's a product quality. Now, if you recall, the founder, Mr. A.G. Hinyapwami, said not to give a biscuit if your son cannot consume, meaning treat all your consumers as your
Same
children.
way.
Because always parents, whether you're rich or poor, give the best to your children. So, and that has gone to now the third generation chairperson also. That has really helped us to work with Reliance, because Reliance is a big company, and when we, as KK very rightly said, it's a complementary skills. We have the world-class R&D, we know how to produce a world-class biscuits, and they have the best infrastructure, best resources, so it's a beautiful match. So I think the learning what we got from the Indian Reliance relationship is that Sri Lanka, we are used to a very homogeneous market. What we sell north and south, east, west is
Pretty
the
much
same
the same,
product.
yes.
If you take lemon puff, it's the same one. There's slight changes, but it's not a major change
Yes.
as such. So we have been used to it for a long time in the FMCG landscape. But if you take India, is a very heterogeneous market, like 50 countries in one country. They have scheduled 32 languages, but more than 120 spoken languages and about 18,000 dialects. So it's a very complicated demographic. So, and I saw it debut yesterday on this thing. India is the most difficult FMCG market in the world. So you can imagine that we are in a very steady market in terms of demographics, going to the most complicated. So actually, I'm pleased because KK is also, it's a marketing team led by him, and given a lot of support to us to understand the consumer needs.
Yes.
Right? So different type of
curate the
products.
product to face.
Yeah, because a lot of
cater
people
to
ask
the-
us, are you doing the same recipe in India? We said, no, they are not interested. They are not interested. Actually, all the products what we have launched so far is all understanding the Indian consumer, working with the Indian marketing team, fine-tuning it, giving that value proposition. Because India is a value, consumers are very intelligent. So they want that value proposition. So that has given us immense knowledge, not only for our R&D team, even our marketing team, to that diversification.
Profound experience.
Absolutely. And that will help us to conquer the other markets for sure. So it's a pretty good eye-opener. And the costing of a product also. You are pushed to the wall, give the best value proposition to the consumer. So you cut down all the frills. So that's something which we learned from India. So that's something significant learning for us. And that definitely will help us to when we navigate the whole thing outside India.
Amazing. So I'm in conversation with Mr. T. Krishnakumar, Director of Reliance Consumer Products, and also Mr. Ravi Jayawardena, Group CEO of the Maliban Biscuits Group. We'll cross over for a short commercial break. Stay tuned to this Newsfirst special. We will be right back. Welcome back to this special interview. Mr. Krishnakumar, let me just start off right after the break with a bit of a strategic question and something that you might actually be willing to answer from a business strategy perspective. There's a lot of talk nowadays, especially in the contemporary age, about supply chains, supply chain resilience. We saw it was accentuated after 2020 when the COVID pandemic struck. Since then, the importance of supply chains has been emphasized then time and time again. When it comes to FMCG and agility in a supply chain, how does local production help a more agile and future ready FMCG supply chain to be built?
Great question. Supply chain actually, to a great extent, defines how well you can compete and satisfy and delight consumers in the FMCG space. In a country like India, supply chain acquires added significance because, as Ravi pointed out, India is a large country which is not absolutely homogeneous. It has got heterogeneous tastes. So I popularly say that every 200 kilometers in India, the language changes, the cuisine changes, the taste change. So it becomes imperative that we have a very strong supply chain. And this is what we do for most of our categories of products. So our approach will be to set up a robust supply chain, which will be split into two parts. We would have the specialty and premium products for which we would possibly have a centralized supply chain with maybe 2 or 3 manufacturing units which will supply the whole country. And we would have the mass and masstige products for which we would necessarily have a regional supply chain. Because the regional supply chain is a must, which means you set up a manufacturing which is within 400 to 500 kilometers radius of the entire demand. This helps in many ways. One is you don't lose too much of money transporting goods. You optimize your freight. Secondly, you get the flexibility to incorporate a bit of regional taste of the consumer. And it also helps you to be very agile in terms of satisfying any sudden demand in certain products that may come. So I think we are in the process of setting this up. Just to give a perspective, our company in its present form in India, while Reliance is a very large and old establishment, we are just about 3 years old. So we are in the process of building a robust supply chain. And we have similar plans for the Maliban cooperation. We would, as I told you, have a two-legged supply chain, one for premium products, which would be slightly more centralized, and one which will be completely distributed for the mass and masstige products. We believe this will be a super competitive advantage for our collaboration because not many people have such world-class manufacturing facilities which are distributed. It obviously has an initial cost, but it will pay out very well over a period of time because we would be really setting up facilities which are global in scale, global in quality, and managed very efficiently and productively locally with the quality support of the Maliban folks. And so this is very important, and I feel if at all there is a factor which is as important as marketing, because the world thinks FMCG products is all about marketing. I am a veteran in this industry, and I could say that supply chain is as important because without good supply chain, all marketing will not help. And so we are concentrating on it, and we are jointly going to really build a very robust supply chain for our business.
Amazing, exciting times ahead. So, Mr. Krishnakumar, this collaboration, and especially in a time where the world is becoming increasingly siloed, where countries are becoming increasingly independent, this is a beautiful example of two regional peers coming together, especially in South Asia, to build up, to scale up through a partnership. Do you believe this collaboration will serve as a prototype for future collaborations between brands in our region to spring up and come about in the future?
See, in my view, this was always a potential which existed between some of the good Sri Lankan companies and strong Indian companies. It is just that a lot of things came together to start this, because in certain categories of products, Sri Lanka has really mastered the whole process of product development at the right cost with the right ingredients to global standards. So it was just that we took some effort to assess this. I feel it could be a great opportunity for people to look at using this. And I feel from both perspectives it works very well. We are sitting in the same part of the world. We have complementary skill sets. We have a great demand sitting next to Sri Lanka. So I think if we put our capabilities together and work seamlessly, I think it would augur well for both partners. And once you get this model right between these two countries, I believe you can play in any part of the world because it gives complementary strengths. Like India is a place where you could source a lot of raw materials inside the country at very, very attractive prices. India is a place, again, many of the capital equipment which you have to go to Europe are available, maybe to similar standards at maybe half or quarter the price. So suddenly it throws the world open to specialized Sri Lankan companies by really working and learning business at a different scale. And as Ravi alluded to, by operating heterogeneous markets, because I think every part of India is different. So you already have the experience of operating 20 countries if you operate India.
Yeah.
So I feel it's a great example. But at the end of the day, it requires a lot of effort from both sides to really find that complementary positioning, which we were able to do. And I'm sure a lot of other people can follow similar path and create good corporations which can help the world.
Amazing. So, Mr. Jayawardena, very quickly, a common word that was thrown around during this conversation today was that India is a heterogeneous market, unlike Sri Lanka, which is largely homogeneous when it comes to the consumer market. Different likes and dislikes, different taste palettes, so on. What lessons on global brand building have you learned when catering to a complex and also a competitive market like India? And how can smaller brands learn from that experience? What do you assume are the key aspects that you need to get right in the realm of global brand building? Because you come with a reputation and you have to take that reputation overseas and maintain that same status. How do you do that?
I think sort of learning from the Indian market, what we have seen now, we have done about 1.5 years of experience with Reliance from the starting point, is that unlike Sri Lanka, India is a very resilient sort of, you have to have high resilience in your overall approach.
Okay.
Right? And you may sometimes, always KK says, we may not go 100% perfect situation. You may go with 80 because you know the market, external market is changing on a rapid speed. So you have to have that agility, change accordingly. And when you're going for the global marketing, you have to have that. So I strongly feel Maliban with India in few years' time will become definitely a regional global brand, but not a global product per se. We will have different, but that's learning has come from India. And that's something which is very unique for us. Any brand that goes to India will learn the techniques how to conquer the world. That's simple as that. Because a lot of people say if you're successful in India, you will be
You can
successful
succeed anywhere in the world.
You know, the competition is fierce. And consumers are very value driven. In today's context, we are in a very commercialized world. So every rupee they spend, they look for that value. So the companies are pushed to the wall to make it, give that proposition. So I'm extremely happy to partner a company like Reliance, mainly because of the fact that not only they have the resources, they understand the market exceptionally well.
Yes.
Yeah, so and that's
There's a lot of knowledge sharing going on.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's as Keke said very rightly. It's a complementary skills. We have the R&D and they have the other stuff. So we are blending together. So a lot of I think a company like Maliban, being a 70-year-old now, if you take our history, we have never ventured outside. This is the first time, really, to be very frank, and it's a good eye opener for any company in Sri Lanka. So my picture of success and our picture of success. We love to see so many companies getting into that Indian partnership with Indian companies and
potentially
really
using this as inspiration.
Yes, as an example. That is our picture of success. That will be a huge morale booster for Sri Lanka. And there's no question about it. Economically, as well as sort of in every way learning, curve, we have experienced that. So and we have a beautiful, very strong neighbor, and why don't we use work with the and and it's like, as I told you earlier, it's like our elder brother,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
we have a very historic, beautiful relationship. So and as a legendary brand in Sri Lanka, we are extremely happy and honored to partner Reliance. And this is only the first steps we have taken. So you will see in the future,
Right.
there's many more, some beautiful stuff coming
Great.
up.
So that gives me the perfect segue for my final question. It's going to be addressed to the both of you. What does the future hold for you individually and also together? I'll let Mr. Krishnakumar go
Yeah,
first.
I think, see, when we started this whole journey or mission to really give the Indian consumer to start with and then the global consumer later, because I personally believe there are enough people across the globe, take or leave about few billion people who look for global quality products at affordable prices. When we did this, one of the legs of this mission or journey or whatever you call it was to take up legacy brands and really make them get what they really deserve. So we have done that in India with a brand called Campa, which is already making a lot of noise in India. We've done quite a few brands. And I believe Maliban, again, is a brand which has legacy, heritage, quality, and whatnot. And so we believe it's an exciting future. We believe we really can work together and make Maliban a seriously significant global brand. So quite excited at at the possibility of doing that. And I think the future looks pretty strong and exciting.
Mr. Jayawardena, any closing thoughts on your end?
Yeah, of course, we are very excited. And not as a company only, I think as a country we should be proud of. And a lot of people are saying that as a country we should be proud of having that beautiful relationship with Reliance. And as you very rightly said, that I can remember the first meeting we had with Reliance. It was very clear. The vision was to make Maliban one of the big global brands in the confectionery arena.
Industry.
And they have that muscle, they have the resources, they have that sort of everything. And Maliban bringing that quality aspects, the world-class quality, it's a beautiful synergy, beautiful complementary skill. So I think this is a stepping stone for a good Sri Lankan brands to venture out to India and to the entire world. So that is for sure. That is what we will look at it. And I'm sure in 3 years down the line, there will be so many companies working with Indian companies and venturing out the same thing. So we gave the initial start, and,
Yes.
and that's for sure. And it's a huge benefit for the country and for the people.
Amazing. So as Sri Lanka strives to unlock its true potential, as it reaches out and unlocks new frontiers, Sri Lankan brands are opening up to the world. They are opening themselves up to new markets, taking on bold challenges, of course, with the help of regional peers such as Reliance and Maliban, the synergy that they have forged, the partnership that they have forged. And may this be the perfect example of how regional ties, when coming together, can make for a beautiful story. So my conversation today revolved around this synergy and regional ties between Sri Lanka and India, with the undertone of a partnership between two global giants. Mr. T. Krishnakumar from Reliance Consumer Products, thank you very much for visiting our shows. Thank you very much for being on this special interview. And of course, Mr. Ravi Jayawardena, Group CEO of Maliban Biscuits Group, thank you very much for joining us as well. We leave you tonight on this special interview. However, we will be back. Until then, take care, stay safe, and have yourselves a great day.